Hey, hey, hey. Time for an out of this world story from Cheating Secrets podcast. If she's guarding her phone like it's the Holy Grail, there's bound to be some smoke where there's fire. Today on Cheating Secrets podcast, be careful not to get burned when you finally uncover the first story. Truth. Wife slept with men from bar and said she deserved it for having a baby. I, 32, married my wife Janet, 26, 3 years ago. We have a 7-month-old daughter. A couple of days back, I found something in her bag that blew my mind. It was a pack of condoms. I'm not the kind of guy who checks his wife's bag, but this time it was urgent. My wife was in the shower and I needed a diaper to change my baby. I had put the baby on the changing table and then realized we had run out. I remembered my wife keeps a few diapers in her bag when she takes the baby for a walk. Her bag was lying near the baby counter, easier for me to grab it. I opened it and found 2 diapers inside. While pulling them out, something fell on the floor. It was a pack of condoms. It was a pack of 3, but only 1 was left. I checked the bag to see if the remaining 2 had fallen inside, but they were not there, meaning 2 were already used. My baby was crying profusely, so I kept the condom in my pocket and changed my baby. When Janet came out of the shower, I put the baby in the crib and pulled out the condom from my pocket. I asked Janet about it. The actor in her came out, and she outrightly denied it. She said it wasn't hers and tried to gaslight the situation and pin it on me. I was shocked at how smoothly she could lie. I said, I found it in her bag. She replied, but you just pulled it from your pocket, right? I flipped out at her because she was not ready to accept it was hers. She then burst out laughing and said, oh, poor you. Look at your puppy face. I was messing with you. Yeah, the condom is mine. I bought it for us. She winked as she said this. It was evident she was lying because we don't use protection. She's breastfeeding, and her cycle hasn't returned, so we don't use protection now. She dismissed me, saying her cycle is back to normal, so we might need protection if we don't want to have back-to-back kids. I asked her what happened to the other 2 condoms. She laughed and said it was a funny story. Yesterday, she brought it and then went out with friends. A guy was hitting on her friend Kyle, things got heated between them, and they went to find a corner but didn't have a condom, so she lent 2 to them. I gave her a look of disbelief and said, do you expect me to believe this? She said yes, because that's the only truth. She said I could call Kyle and ask for myself. I didn't call her because if Janet was lying, then Kyle was obviously on board with her and would lie too. So, what's the point? I didn't call her but told Janet I wasn't buying her story and she needed to come clean. Now she's gaslighting me and trying to guilt trip me that I don't trust her. She's weeping, saying I don't understand her, that she has just delivered a baby and is going through postpartum depression, and amidst this, I'm accusing her of cheating. I haven't tried to make things up with her. I've left it that way, but she has made the environment murky. She's just curling up inside the bed in a dark room, refusing to switch on the lights, saying she doesn't like the brightness. She's not eating at all. I'm not sure how she is when I'm not home, but this is what she has been doing after the confrontation. I'm usually the one who apologizes right after our fights because hardly any woman breaks the ice and says sorry first. However, this time, I just don't feel like apologizing at all. I don't think I've done anything wrong by asking her up front about the condoms. Do you guys think I could have done anything differently? Reaction. Seriously, if she's using postpartum depression as a get-out-of-jail-free card for handing out condoms like Halloween candy, maybe it's time for a different kind of delivery, a reality check. Though I have to admit, her excuse game is stronger than her commitment to honesty. As for what you could have done differently, well, you could have packed your own emergency condom in the diaper bag. Who knows? Maybe next time she'll pull out a clown nose and claim it's for stress relief. Update 1. Thank you for engaging with my post. You guys are right in saying that she flashed the red flag right across my face. Yes, she did, and I didn't let it slide. Some of you asked for more information about Janet to comment on the situation. Well, Janet and I have known each other for over 6 years. We met at a friend's party. She was the most gorgeous woman there. We spent the evening together, talking, dancing, and having fun, but I forgot to ask her for her number. I'm not a party person, but it was my friend's promotion party, and he insisted I attend. I asked my friend about Janet, and he said he didn't know her either. She was his colleague's friend. I requested my friend to ask his colleague for Janet's number. He was reluctant because my friend was married and didn't want his colleagues to think he was hitting on Janet. After a lot of convincing, he got her number. I kept it for a week before texting her. I didn't know how she would take this. I didn't want to come across as desperate or cheap. I mean, she was gorgeous, and I'm sure there were many men at the party who wanted her number. Nonetheless, I mustered the courage and messaged her. Luckily, she replied that she regretted not asking for my number. From there on, we hit it off. She was working a part-time job. She said she didn't have a full-time job because it involved a lot of commitment and she liked to live freely on her terms. That could have been a red flag, but I didn't think of it that way. I was deeply immersed in my work and was not liking it that way. I wanted to be free like her, so it kind of clicked for me. After dating for 2 years, I proposed to her, and we got married in a close ceremony with friends and family. Janet didn't want to spend money on a grand wedding. She wanted to use that money for a vacation instead. After the wedding, we went on a 15-day trip to Europe. 1.5 years after the marriage, Janet got pregnant. She freaked out because we didn't plan it that way. We wanted to travel the world together and do a bunch of stuff before having a baby. She wanted to get rid of it. I was not happy with her decision. I love kids, and I wanted one. But since she had different plans, I never forced her into pregnancy. But when she got pregnant unexpectedly, I tried to convince her to keep the baby. She was in two minds, but ultimately, she kept it. Pregnancy is tough and cranky for women, and since I was the one who convinced her into this, I had to face the brunt of it. I did everything to keep her happy. Thankfully, her pregnancy was without any complications, yet she threw tantrums, and I happily took it because, it was her time. After the baby came, she became worse. I thought it was because of the lack of sleep and tiredness from nursing the baby. She got so depressed that she felt caged and could not have her former freedom. I took her for therapy, and the doctor said it was postpartum depression, which is natural for all women post-delivery. I tried everything to give her the freedom she needed. I hired a full-time nanny so that she could have free time to herself. Our daughter was 2 months old, and since then, Janet has resumed her life of partying and going out with her friends as she used to. I never stopped her because the doctor said a happy mom will nurture her baby. 7 months later, here we are. I found a condom inside her bag, and she is throwing her best friend under the bus to save herself. Coming to the updates, as I mentioned earlier, Janet was trying to gaslight the situation, but I didn't give in. I told her if she thinks she can put up an act and get away with her actions, she's wrong. I'm not going to let go of this until she tells me the truth, because what she said earlier is pure BS. Since she was not opening up, I started digging myself. I wanted to check her phone, but she's so guarded about it that I could never access it. Even when she would sleep, she would keep it next to her or under her pillow. She had always been like that with her phone, so I never questioned her. Directly asking her to show her phone was also not an option. She would again make a hue and cry about it, claiming I was doubting her and blah blah. I don't know how else to get the evidence because this woman has no conscience, and she's not going to confess. Any suggestions are greatly welcomed. Reaction. If Janet's guarding her phone like it's a state secret, you might need to channel your inner James Bond and get a bit creative. Maybe you could enlist the help of a distraction master, like a baby with an insatiable curiosity for shiny objects. While Janet's busy wrangling the little one, you could sneakily swipe her phone and dive into the depths of her digital secrets. Or hey, if you're feeling particularly bold, you can try the classic accidental spill maneuver. Oops, honey, looks like I accidentally knocked over my drink onto your phone. Let me grab some paper towels while you clean that up. Just make sure you've got a backup plan for when she starts suspecting foul play, and maybe a pre-packed suitcase and a one-way ticket to a land where lies and deception are just a distant memory. Remember, in this game of cat and mouse, sometimes the mouse has to get a little crafty to outsmart the cat. Just watch out for any trap doors. Janet might be hiding more than just her phone in her bag of tricks. Then the floodgates opened, and I told her that she was an evil person who just wanted to hurt me, and that I'd been a dead man walking since I first discovered she cheated on me. She told me I was being dramatic and said that this whole life takes two people. She said that I knew what I was getting into the moment I agreed to open the relationship. She said that I could have said no at any moment. Then she called me a weak little boy and told me that I was a quitter. I said that she was the one that gave up the moment she decided to cheat on me and continue to cheat on me. I said that I tried to make it work, and the argument escalated from there. She accused me of being selfish and unreasonable, of abandoning our relationship without trying hard enough to fix it. I countered by listing all the ways she had hurt me, the countless nights I had spent agonizing over her betrayals, the times I had swallowed my pride and pain to keep us together. From there, I just started packing up her stuff and carrying it out to the lawn, even the tiniest things that I knew she had bought, like planter pots and bottles of wine. Anything that was hers, I just wanted out of there. She started yelling at me and pushing me. At one point, she tried to be physical with me, and I had to lock her out of the house. She called one of her partners, and then it only escalated from there. The police got involved. Basically, her partner and I got physical. I was defending myself and bled all over my front porch. I ended up charging him, and he spent a few nights in jail. Sonia tried to come back the next day, sobbing and trying to apologize. She asked me where she was supposed to go, and I told her that she could go to any of the other partners that she had, or friends, or family. I should have told her that I was done. She was hysterical. I told her that I can't keep living like this. She continued to resist, making every excuse to delay the inevitable. She played on my emotions, reminding me of the good times and the plans we had made for the future. I told her she had to pack her stuff, and I didn't want to see her again. I said I'd help her pack up her stuff and load it into a vehicle, and that it had to be out by the end of the day. The reality of the situation began to sink in for her. After hours of back and forth, tears and vomit. Yes, she puked from hyperventilating. She finally caved, though it was clear she was far from accepting it. As I was moving stuff outside, she said, "I hope you know what you're doing." I told her that it was something I should have done a long time ago. My brother and his wife ended up coming over to help and for moral support, and I appreciate the heck out of them for that. As she drove away for the last time, I felt a tumult of emotions. There was relief in reclaiming my space and my life, but also a profound sadness for the love that had been lost and the future that would never be. After that, I blocked her on my phone and on social media. It may be dramatic, but I burned whatever she had left. Practically anything that would remind me of her was gone. This first real relationship turned out to be a painful experience, one that shattered my naive expectations of love. The betrayal and heartache taught me more about myself and the complexity of relationships than I could have ever imagined. It was a bad first relationship, no doubt about it. I learned the hard way about the importance of trust, communication, and self-respect. Despite the pain, it also taught me to recognize my own worth and the necessity of setting boundaries. It showed me that true love shouldn't come at the cost of my own happiness and well-being. In the end, this experience shaped me. It made me more aware of what I need and deserve in a relationship. It was a harsh lesson, but one that ultimately made me stronger and more prepared for future relationships. If it's any consolation, I heard from one of our friends that Sonia had been let go from her role at the hospital because she had been severely underperforming. Some of her colleagues had been complaining about her. I guess I wasn't the only one who had issues with her and trusting her. Apparently, she had been stealing medication for some of her partners and not filling out patient charts properly. Last I heard, hospital administrators are reportedly conducting an internal investigation to assess the impact of Sonia's conduct on patient care and workplace dynamics. Anyways, thanks for reading this. If I can offer any advice after all of this, it's that if something feels off in your relationship, don't ignore it. Trust your gut instincts and address any concerns you have with your partner. Don't settle for less than you deserve. You deserve to be with someone who respects and values you, who is faithful and committed to building a healthy, loving relationship. Sometimes, despite your best efforts, a relationship may not be healthy or fulfilling. Don't be afraid to walk away if it's no longer serving you or bringing you happiness. Remember, it's okay to prioritize your own happiness and well-being. Reaction. Well, let's unpack this carnival of chaos, shall we? From grocery store meet-cutes to front porch showdowns, you've really covered the spectrum. Who knew holding the door open could lead to such a wild ride? And let's give it up for Sonia, the master of manipulation and the queen of crocodile tears. I mean, threatening self-harm to avoid accountability. That's next-level emotional gymnastics right there. And open relationships? More like opening Pandora's box of disaster. But hey, at least you had a shining moment of clarity amidst the chaos. Sometimes you have to hit rock bottom to realize there's only one way to go from there. Up. Kicking Sonia to the curb? That's just the first step on the road to redemption. So here's to you, the survivor of the relationship apocalypse. You faced the fire-breathing dragon of deceit and came out the other side stronger, wiser, and with a few battle scars to brag about. And if anyone tries to tell you it was all for nothing, just remind them you've got a PhD in relationship dysfunction and you're not afraid to use it. Do you have a similar story? Share it with us in the comments below. Thank you for joining us today on Cheating Secrets Podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. See you next time. See, she threatened to take away the last penny I had. I said, sure, good luck hiring a lawyer. The good ones don't come for free unless you want to open your legs to hire them. She went towards my daughter's nursery, but I blocked her. Whoa, you're not getting her. She's not living on the streets with you. She broke down, saying I was ripping her off from her daughter. I said, you're not interested in being a mother, are you? I'm freeing you from all the responsibility. You can now live the life you wanted. She packed her stuff and left. My lawyer built a strong case to get full custody, like hiring a full-time nanny and taking work-from-home jobs, etc. But it turned out that Janet was indeed not so keen on keeping her baby. She didn't have a house or a job, so she didn't fight for custody at all. However, she went bonkers to claim the alimony. I had to pay a certain amount, can't disclose, sorry, to get rid of her, but it was way too low compared to what she was demanding. It was completely worth it to get her out of my life. Kyle and her husband visited me one day to check on the baby. Kyle apologized to me for not informing me about Janet's hookups. She said she tried to stop Janet from infidelity, but she didn't listen. She was sorry for the baby. Kyle said she was glad I took full custody because Janet was not so involved with the baby, and she would not be able to raise the baby properly like I was doing. Kyle told me that Janet would always cry about how fussy and cranky the baby was and so on. She was overplaying her postpartum thing. Kyle's husband informed me that Janet had reached out to them for help, but he had chased her out. Since then, Janet had been shuffling from one friend's couch to another, and her drinking habit had also hit the roof. I said I don't care what she does with her life now. They offered a helping hand with babysitting. I thanked them for their kind gesture, but I don't think I would need them. My parents have moved in with me to help with the baby. We also have a full-time nanny, so I think the baby is going to be fine. I might let her meet her mother someday, but not now. She's just happy and safe with her dad. Reaction: hey, at least you've now got full custody of your little bundle of joy, and Janet's off gallivanting through the land of couch surfing and cheap booze. It's like a modern-day fairy tale, except instead of a happily ever after, you've got a deadbeat ex and a baby who's better off without her. And as for Janet's alimony demands, well, let's just say she's about as likely to get that as she is to win the lottery while riding a unicorn. But hey, at least she's got a talent for consistency, consistently making bad life choices, that is. So here's to you, OP, bravely navigating the murky waters of divorce and custody battles like a seasoned sailor in a sea of chaos. May your days be filled with diapers and giggles, and may Janet's antics serve as a cautionary tale for generations to come. Cheers to you, OP. You've earned every bit of peace and quiet that comes your way. What would you have done? Thank you for joining us today on Cheating Secrets Podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. See you next time.